Who was embodied in Adam, Part 1. BD number 7463. November 26, 1959, you will always be directed correctly by my spirit and mentally guided into truth. I have given you this promise and it will come to pass as soon as you want to be instructed by me myself through the Spirit. For my spirit in you is my share, it therefore knows all that which you would like to know. In the beginning only supremely perfect spirits existed, for my tireless spirit of love created them for its own happiness. This spirit of love yearned to receive the same love in return, it yearned for a like-natured being, and possessing it initiated the act of creation, insofar as that this being came forth from me first. From then on I wanted to share with it the bliss of creating, because it is extraordinarily blissful for a perfect being to time and again create through its will and strength the same beings in all magnificence and constant urge to love, which thus resulted in creating. And my first created being, Lucifer or the bearer of light, experienced the pleasure of creating in the same way, and it was inconceivably happy. I allowed it complete freedom, for it was devoted to me in profound and purest love. I did not limit its creative power since my strength of love constantly permeated this first created being and because its will, too, was entirely free but nevertheless utterly concurred with mine, because its love for me shone brightly to the highest degree. Consequently, only like-natured, supremely perfect beings were able to emerge from this bond of love. Beings, which were true images of me myself, just as the first created spirit had been in the beginning. When the division of his will started, when Lucifer, in full possession of strength and light, began to compare himself with me. When his love occasionally lessened and a certain amount of selfish love broke through, it also occasionally lessened the bright shine of his nature, and this affected the beings as well. Nevertheless, these beings had been created through his will and thus my permeation of strength, they equally still emerged in supreme perfection but now and then also started to direct their will wrongly, since it was and remained completely free in all beings which arose from our mutual will and strength. The beings took on the nature of their Creator, but since my strength of love was their fundamental substance they were also divinely natured, they were perfect because nothing imperfect can emerge from me and my strength. However, free will is part of a perfect being and this was able to develop in every direction. Thus it cannot be said that the beings were forced to conform to their Creator's nature, because the strength from me, which was always involved in the creative process, always guaranteed that, after the first being was created, nothing inferior would emerge from its Creator's will. Because free will is bestowed upon every being and this required every being to experience its own test of will. And this free will resulted in the fact that the fall into the abyss also included beings which emerged from us first, whose intense light of love should never have allowed for it but who misused their free will just as Lucifer, the bearer of light himself, whose exceedingly magnificent nature should never have come to fall because he possessed brightest realization. But for this reason, his fall has to be condemned even more just like the fall of those first beings. Just as, the other way round, the later created beings stood firm and detached themselves from him when they were allowed to use their right of self-determination and chose their Lord. And one of those fallen original spirits was Adam, whose soul was entitled to embody itself as a human being due to its maturity, but this nevertheless did not protect him from falling for a second time. Because once again his free will failed. But not because he was too weak to make the right decision. He wanted to be greater than God. That was his original sin and it was the renewed sin in paradise. And I wanted to create children for myself who see their Father in me and after whose love I longed, because my immeasurable love constantly desires reciprocation. This love was the basis for my whole act of creation, the creation of all original spirits and later of earthly material creations, because I want to attain this love one day, if only after an infinitely long time. Time and again I try to make you humans understand the magnitude and profundity of my love. Yet as long as you have not become love yourselves, as long as you have not shaped yourselves such that my strength of love can permeate you again as in the beginning, you will be unable to comprehend the depth of my love. However, you should know that you are able to touch my heart, that I will fulfill your every wish, that I guide you into truth and bestow light upon you because I know that only light causes happiness, because light originates from love and you possess all my love, even if you are unable to feel it. But time and again I will provide you with the evidence of it. Amen.